presentation. And to move ahead for the day, I would like to call upon Mr. Ajay Bindroo, Senior Executive, Silkmark Organization of India. And to facilitate, I would like to call upon Dr. Reddy from NIMSME, Dr. Nigam from NIFT, and Mr. Yash Arya onto the stage, please. A lot of learning going on today.
Yes, sir. Sir, please. Yes. Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So nice.
History of Textiles. I'm here, first of all, before I start my presentation, I would like to thank Mr. Yash Arya for providing me a few minutes to address this nice and such type of genietry that I was not aware of. People from different walks of life. So let me start with the presentation. This presentation will be very helpful to the general masses. I try to make it a very brisk one, not a too lengthy one. Silkmark Organization of India. First of all, I'll start with the fibers. There are two types of fibers. One is the natural fiber and one is the man-made fiber. And silk is a natural fiber. Whereas the polyester or you can say the nylon, they are artificial fibers, man-made fibers. There are basically four types of silk that I'll take you to. This is the life cycle of the silkworm, and most of the NIFT students must be knowing about it. So this is the basic life cycle of a silkworm that we have given here, and I'll like to divide it into four parts later on. The first four varieties of silk that they are mulberry, tusser, eri, and moa. Out of these four varieties, only the mulberry is the variety that we can do the rearing in-house rearing. The other three varieties are called the wild silk or the one silk of India, as the rearing is done outdoors only on the trees. Mulberry is the most popular out of the four because the rearing is done all over India. And this is the life cycle of the mulberry silkworm. The rearing takes 35 to 40 days, wherein from the basic egg, hatching is done, then the silkworm comes out and the cocoon. It takes 35 to 40 days. The next one is the tusser, which is done in the regions of Jharkhand and Bihar. And the leaf that the tusser worm takes is asan or arjun plants. It feeds on arjun or asan plants. And it takes around 60 days for the worm to grow from hatching till the cocoon level. It's 60 days time. The third one is the eri silk, which is also called the ahimsa silk, because in this silk only we do not kill the worm. The worm comes out of the cocoon first and then we use it. Although it's a broken thread, it's not a length, the length is not like 1,000 or 1,200 meters, it's maybe 200 or 300 meters length thread, but it's called ahimsa silk. Nowadays it's very much popular. People like to use this more. And the life cycle of this eri silk, it lasts for 45 days. It's again a wild silk, grown on the trees. And the last but not the least, that's a muga silk, which is called the golden silk of India. It's available only in India and that to the north of eastern part of India. The muga silk life cycle is of 50 days. The natural color of muga silk is golden. These are some of the states where the tusser, muga, eri and mulberry silks are found. Now, some of the common varieties of silk fabrics are chiffon fabric, georgette, crepe, taffet. This is how you identify the natural silks. This is the basic test, the burning test. Second test is the chemical test. One more is the microscopic test. But now, if you go to a shop and we tell him that please give us a fiber and we want to burn it and check it, he will not allow you. Neither you can carry a microscope along with, and nor you can carry some chemicals and test it there. So what's the best way? Now I'm coming to that. That's the silk mark. That's why silk mark has come into the market. It is just like any other mark, like wool mark, hall mark. Silk mark is there, or ISI mark. The silk mark was launched on 17th June 2004 at Bangalore by the Honorable Union Minister of Textiles, Mr. Shankar Singh Waghela. So silk mark was there to protect the interest of the consumers. It's a quality assurance label, just like any other mark. SMOI is a registered society promoted by Central Silk Board, Ministry of Textiles, Government of India. It's governed by its own bylaws. SMOI promoting silk mark as a specially designed logo to represent the brand. These are some of the quality marks, else in silk mark also. The silk mark labels come in three types. This is the card type, and one is a civil label, and now there is another new label that's being pasted on the, and you cannot remove it easily. If you remove it, it will break into two parts. So the cheating, to avoid this cheating, we had made a new label. Now some glimpse of the activities that we perform. This is an awareness program that we did at Roorkee, Uttarakhand. This is an awareness program at Hardwar. These are some of the fashion institutes where we give the presentations and try to educate the children. This is the FMG Fashion Institute, Greater Noida. Awareness program at Utsav Fashion. Awareness program at SGT University, Gurgaon. This is the Designers Meet. This is the IS Voice Association, New Delhi. This is the IFS Voice Association at New Delhi. This is CCIC New Delhi. So thank you very much for watching this presentation. Now I'd like to show you a small video which hopefully you like. It's on silk only, that how silk is made.
Silkworm's life cycle has four distinct stages, namely egg, larva, pupa, and moth. The life cycle is of about 7 weeks duration, which may change marginally with the race and environment. The eggs hatch in 12 to 14 days. The yellowish eggs turn blue a day before hatching. The eggs hatch during early hours of the day. The larva eats its way out of the egg. hatched larvae are dark, hairy, about 3 mm long and weigh less than 0.5 milligram. The larvae start feeding on mulberry leaves almost immediately after hatching. The larval stage of silkworm lasts for about 4 weeks, during which the larvae shed their skin 4 times. The process of shedding the old skin is termed as molding. The first mold happens 3 to 4 days after hatching, and it lasts for 20 to 24 hours. During mold, the larvae stop feeding. The larvae resume feeding for 2 to 3 days, before they settle for the second mold. The second mold lasts for 20 to 24 hours. Larval size at first and second mold, compared against the scale of a rice grain. The larvae resume feeding voraciously for 3 to 4 days, before settling for third mold. The third mold lasts for about 24 hours. Larval size at first, second, and third mold, compared against the scale of a rice grain. After 4 to 5 days of feeding, they settle for fourth mold. The fourth mold lasts for 30 to 36 hours. Larval size at first, second, third, and fourth mold compared. The actual process of molding starts with vigorous contraction of the body. The process takes about 30 minutes, since the starting of body contraction. The larvae out of the fourth mold feed voraciously for about 6 to 8 days to the end of larval stage. At the end of larval stage, the larvae stop feeding and get ready to spin cocoon. The front portion of the larvae become translucent and they start searching for suitable place to make cocoon. The structures provided for spinning cocoon are called mountages. The larvae first makes a footage with silk to hold itself before making the cocoon. The larva swings its head in S or 8 pattern and move around to spin the cocoon. In 2 to 3 days, 500 to 1500 meters of silk filament is spun into a cocoon by a single larva. The third stage of life cycle starts inside the cocoon. The metamorphosis happens in 2 distinct stages. The first stage happens 3 to 4 days after spinning the cocoon. The larva metamorphoses into pupa. The process takes about an hour since the starting of body contraction. The second change happens after another 4 to 6 days. The moth emerges from the pupal shell. The process takes 20 to 30 minutes since the starting of body contraction. Moth is the last stage in the life cycle. It emerges out of the cocoon by dissolving the binding protein with its saliva. It makes a hole by pushing the loosened silk strands. The moth wriggles out of the cocoon through the hole. Emergence usually occurs during early morning hours. Moths mate immediately after the emergence. The female moths are fat and sluggish, while the males are slender and active. The egg laying starts the same evening. A healthy female lays 400 to 600 eggs in a single layer in about 18 to 24 hours.
Thank you very much for your patience, and I hope that I am here, I have delivered whatever delivered, maybe it has added something to your knowledge, and thanks very much. But last thing I would like to say that whenever you buy silk, please look for silk mark. Don't purchase silk without silk mark, otherwise people may sell you something man-made fibers on the name of silk, which happens in the markets nowadays. So please look for Silkworm. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful video, and I think I have been reading it since school days about this life cycle of silk or silk moth, but it was wonderful to see how it actually happens today. And we have the raw form of silk on the counter outside if you want to see it today.